Study the story of Joseph and how the story of Joseph will line up together with the French Revolution, okay? Because we know the story of Joseph when he predicted the 7 years of famine and the 7 years of plenty, and how that will correspond to the time of the end, and what the French Revolution will teach us about what is going to happen at the time of the end. So we're putting that line of Joseph with the time of the French Revolution. Okay, in that case, we'll start. All right. So, okay, let me put myself to the right here. It is the story of Joseph and his brothers. This is basically the line of Joseph and his brothers and what we can learn about what is going to happen in the end time. All right? Okay. Obviously, it's in Genesis. It's all in Genesis. So, let me get my, hold on, let me get my, I have to get this over here first. Sorry about that. It's in the book of Genesis. All right, there you go. It's in the book of Genesis, and we'll start in Genesis 37. We know Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob, right? And how old was it that when Joseph had his dreams? How old was he when he had his dreams? He was 17 years old. Genesis 37 verse 2. He was 17 years old. All right. Now, Joseph had a lot of brothers, right? He had 11 brothers, right? And he had one sister. And his father, Jacob, worked for how many years for his mother? 7 years. 7 years for his mother, Rachel. And then he was tricked. And turned out he had to, what he was working for was Leah, right? And then he had to work another 7 years. So he worked 7 years and he got 10 sons. And he worked another 7 years and then he got 2 sons, right? So the 10 sons of the north, he had to work 2,520 days. And 2 sons of the south, he had to work 2,520 days. So we know that these are the 2 sticks, right? All right. Okay. So that's, I have to put that into as an understanding that these are the 2 sticks, because we are going to continually look at the 2 sticks, okay? All right. Now, Joseph had a dream. His first dream, I'm not going to read all of this because we all know this. His first dream was the sheaves in the field that stood around about and made obeisance to his sheaf, right? And who are these sheaves that were around him and made obeisance to his sheaf? His brothers, right? Right. His brothers. All right. And because his brothers are going to worship him. When did that get fulfilled? When they went to Egypt, right? And how many times did his 10 brothers go and visit him in Egypt? 2 times, right? 2 times with the 10. His 10 brothers. So the 10 sticks go. So when he was separated from his brothers, that's when the 2 sticks were separated. But when they came and visited him and worshipped him, 2 times. The 10 brothers came and visited him 2 times, and they worshipped him. And this is when this prophecy was fulfilled. Okay, so when those 2 sticks are joined together, right? When those 2 sticks are joined together, that prophecy is about, this prophecy is about the 7 times. First, it was scattered when Joseph was taken to Egypt, and it was gathered again when the 10 brothers came to him twice, right? So this is a prophecy about the 7 times, the 2 sticks coming together, okay? All right, this wheat, his brothers, okay? And then he had another dream. And this time, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to him. What is the sun? It's the father, the mother, and his 11 brothers. But his mother is actually still alive or dead? Rachel. Rachel is already dead, right? So this prophecy is a prophetic prophecy, but it is spiritual. In other words, his whole family. When will his whole family come and worship him, and make him ruler, of his family? When did the whole family go down? Yeah, when they all went down to Egypt, and they all joined together, and they lived in Goshen, right? Yeah, they lived in Goshen. So that's when they all came down and joined together, right? Okay, right. So we know when the prophecy was fulfilled. These are 2 dreams, and there's 2 prophecies, and we would know when they were fulfilled, okay? All right. Patriarchs and Prophets, 209 to 210. The father's injudicious gift to Joseph of a costly coat or tunic, such as was usually worn by persons of distinction, seemed to them another evidence of his partiality, and excited a suspicion that he intended to pass by his elder children to bestow the birthright upon the son of Rachel. Was he going to be a person of distinction? So his father giving him this coat of many colors, what was that? That's a prophecy. Because he is going to be a person of distinction that people are going to bow down to, right? And did his brothers thought that his father was giving him the birthright. Did he get the birthright? Did he get the birthright? Did Joseph get the birthright? Who has the birthright? In the beginning, who has the birthright? Who's the oldest son? Judah. No, Reuben. Reuben has the son. It was taken away from Reuben. And who was it given to? It was given to Judah and to Joseph. Right? Because Judah got the birthright for the southern kingdom, and Joseph got the birthright for the northern kingdom, which is through Ephraim. Right?
That's why I said, not really, because it was,
Right. So actually he did. So he did get the birthright, right? Because Reuben did not get it, because the birthright was given to Joseph, but eventually it passed on to Ephraim. And Ephraim also was not the firstborn of Judah. I mean of Joseph. Who's the firstborn of Joseph? Manasseh. Manasseh was the older son, and Ephraim was the second son. And Ephraim actually became, so when you have the 2 sticks, Judah, that's why the 2 sticks are called Judah and Ephraim. This is Ezekiel 37, the 2 sticks. So Judah and Ephraim.
How come Judah is on the south to be on the north?
Well, Judah is actually on the south too. Israel is on the north, right? The 10 kings on the north, the 10 tribes.
It's okay, because it happened first right there.
Right, yeah. So when you see Ephraim was actually Joseph, But it still symbolizes he basically the one head that he went to when he went to Egypt. He symbolized that the 10 stayed behind. Kind of like that. The sticks were still separate, right? Yeah, the sticks were. But Ephraim eventually, I guess they reshuffled. They reshuffled the right. They reshuffled the tribes, because then it was Judah and Benjamin that was in the south, but there's still only 2 in the south, right?
Dan was gone.
Yeah,
So
Dan,
Ephraim and
right. And who else was not counted?
Joseph
Yeah, obviously Joseph was not counted.
and Dan.
Yeah,
So that's why replaced by
right.
Manasseh and
Yeah,
Ephraim.
that's right. So Ephraim and so we get back to the 2 sticks. Jacob believed that the Lord was revealing the future to Joseph. So Jacob realizes that these are prophecies. So in a way, Jacob saw the visions of Joseph as a prophecy. He knew that these were prophecies, okay?
But he doesn't realize how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the children thought that he was the birthright.
Yeah. But it is actually a prophecy. All right, it's a prophecy. Okay. So we go to, we know this story so well. Now it came to pass that Joseph was going to come and visit how many brothers did he go and visit? Who was tending sheep? 10. I said, he visited his 10 brothers. And it was his 10 brothers that sold him, right?
Well, they were wanting to kill him first, remember?
Right,
But
right.
Reuben said, no, we're not going to kill him.
Yeah,
Just-
right. And who was the one that hated him the most? There was 2 brothers that hated him the most. Simeon, and who's the other one? Levi. Yeah. And Simeon and Levi were the ones that hated him the most. The amazing, and Judah tried to save him. And Judah was also the one that when they wanted to take Benjamin, and says, okay, and Jacob says, no, don't take Benjamin. He says, okay, yeah, no, I will guarantee. So Judah stepped up and behaved as the oldest brother, right? Not Reuben. That's why Judah became he got the birthright. All right, okay. But Simeon was the one also that was put in prison, right? Because he really hated Joseph. And he also, when they went into Canaan, Simeon had the smallest land. And Levi, who hated Joseph also, had no land.
They ended up no land, yeah. Ended up having
Because
no
they
land.
were
Amazing, huh? All right. So who was it that Joseph was sold to?
The Midianites.
And the Ishmaelites. The Midianite merchantmen, and who were the Ishmaelites. Now, what's the difference between Midianites and Ishmaelites? What's the difference between Midianites and Ishmaelites? Well, we know who the Ishmaelites are.
Ishmaelites are-
Who are the Ishmaelites? Well, they're the son of Ishmael. Oh, wait, it's obvious. It's the Muslims. So who are the Midianites?
people living in
Esau's tribe?
No, it's
Tribe is it?
no. Midian is the son of Keturah.
Oh,
Oh, so they're okay.
So what are they? The children of the east. The same thing.
same thing.
It's the same thing. The Midianites and the Ishmaelites are the sons of the east, the sons of the wilderness. Who are they? They're the locust, right? The east wind, same thing, right? So the east wind, the Midianites, the Ishmaelites.
It just reminded me, wasn't Moses' wife a Midianite? Wasn't Zipporah a Midianite?
Yeah.
Zipporah was a
Laban lived in the what of Midian?
because I remember
Mhm.
Aaron, they didn't like her
Yeah, she was dark.
because she was dark and she was, so yeah.
Moses.
Yeah,
What?
Zipporah.
I thought she was Ethiopian.
No, she was Midian because Laban lived in country of Midian. Mhm.
Because I remember, somebody's Midian, I don't remember Moses was.
So we know for sure here that the Ishmaelites was the one that saved
Yeah.
Joseph, right? And took him to Egypt.
Egypt.
All right.
Egypt.
One day's experience had been the turning point in Joseph's life. His terrible calamity had transformed him from a petted child to a man, from somebody who was spoiled to an adult, right? It was a turning point. So this turning point is the what of a wheel, is the turning point of a wheel. So the axle of the wheel of the line of Joseph. So this is the line of Joseph that we're studying, which is a wheel, right? Which is a wheel. Okay. The life of Joseph illustrates the life of Christ. How could you say that Joseph illustrates Christ?
The Savior.
Well, yeah, he saved his brother, right? That's right. He saved his own brothers, right? He was sold by his brothers, who was brought by Midianite merchants and Ishmaelite traders, right, to Egypt. What about Jesus? Did Jesus have to be saved in Egypt also? Right. Yeah. He had to run away from Herod, right? Okay. So his 10 brothers, what would you say that his 10 brothers that persecuted Joseph could represent? The 10 that persecutes Joseph. 10 could represent the 10 toes of Rome, right? It should be the 10 toes of Rome. And what about Herod? Would you say that Herod was related to Rome? Of course, Herod is related to Rome. How is Herod related to Rome? Who appointed Herod? Mark Antony. Mark Antony. That's right. So Herod, yeah. So it was Rome that you could say his brothers envied Joseph and sold him as a slave. Right. I'm reading from Patriarchs and Prophets here. The brothers envied Joseph and sold him as a slave to prevent him from becoming a greater than them. When he was a slave in Egypt, they flattered themselves that his dream would never be fulfilled. The Jewish priests and elders envied Jesus, fearing that he would attract more people away from them. They killed him to prevent him from becoming king, but in so doing, he became the savior of his people. So the story of Joseph, it typifies Jesus, right? Okay. All right. So when he was there, obviously we still know the story with Potiphar, and he got put into jail, in prison, and there he gave the meaning of the visions of the butler and the baker, right? And 2 years later, and it came to pass the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and so Pharaoh had how many dreams? 2 dreams. And the first dream was about the cows, right? The fat cows, the 7 fat cows and the 7 skinny cows. And the second dream was about the ears of corn. What is it? Did they say skinny or what? Rank and good.
Thin.
Versus the thin. Okay, the rank and good versus the thin. And why were they? Because they were blasted with the east wind. Right. So the east wind separates the 7 good from the 7 thin. The 7 fat and the 7 skinny, lean. The fat from the lean. All right. It is divided by the east wind. Okay. And Pharaoh said, oh, and then this is what Joseph said, what the interpretation was. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up, one stalk full and good, and behold, 7 ears, and blasted with the east wind, and the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, and there was none that could declare it unto me. All right? And when Joseph was able to declare it, Joseph was able to declare it, he was given, what was he given when he was when he was able to declare it? He was given a he was given a robe.
No, it's like Daniel.
Right? Remember, he was given a robe, just like his father gave him a robe. That was prophetic. His father gave him a robe. Right. It was a robe of distinction. Right. So his father gave him a robe, and the Pharaoh gave him a robe. He became a man of distinction. Right. And what was it that, I had to make this big because I like this picture, is the east wind that blasted the corn. Right. There's the east wind coming and blasting the corn. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is what happened when he was able to give that prediction and told them that so Joseph, what are we going to do? We're going to, so you are going to gather all the corn and put it aside and save it for the time of the famine. And during the time of famine, then you will be able to give it away, right? Sell the corn. So then Pharaoh took his ring and put it upon Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures, gave him a new coat and put a gold chain, all right? And he gave him a new name, and Joseph's name was given, it was changed to Zaphnath-Paneah. Wow.
He gave him a ring, and he gave him a wife too.
And gave him a wife. And he was how old?
30.
Okay. So this puts him at what timeline in our line? Okay, we are going to get a new name. We are going to be a wife, because the old wife is bypassed, and Joseph is 30 years old. Where is that? 9/11, right? That's 9/11, right? It's very obvious that's 9/11, right? And then the 7 plenteous years starts. So the 7 years of plenty starts when? 9/11. Okay? We have to prove this, right? From these verses, we know that the 7 years of plenty starts at 9/11. You get that? Yeah. You can read all of this. We're going very fast because we know this, right? But it's very important that we just go over this, okay? We know this story. So a new coat, a new name means a new covenant, because the old covenant is bypassed. When Jesus was baptized, he chose a new church, right? A new wife, right? His disciples, right? Because the old church was bypassed, right? Okay. And then what happened? There was famine in all the land. There's famine in Egypt, and then there was famine. This is the east wind already come. The east wind already come, and now there's a famine in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan. So now Jacob sent his 10 sons to go down, right, to buy corn. And when he saw them, what did Joseph do? He remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, right, that they are going to bow down to me. That is the fulfillment of the dream about the 2 sticks coming together. So these 2 sticks come together. When do the 2 sticks first come together? When these 10 brothers come down twice, right? So they come down twice, the first sticks come together. What timeline is this? Midnight cry, right? So this is, right, so when we can say that this is 9/11, this is midnight cry, right? The two sticks come together. All right. Yeah, okay. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them. Now, then they came back again. And this time they came back with Benjamin, right? And then he had a party for them, right? And then eventually he had to tell them, right? Yeah, he had to reveal them. He could not hold himself, right? And what did he do? He cried. Because every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brethren.
Just him and his brothers.
That's right.
The rest of the Egyptians he told to go out.
Yeah, but he still cried, and he wept aloud, and the Egyptian and the house of Pharaoh heard. All right.
Probably listening at the door.
So when he and his brothers are all joined together, and he cried aloud, such that the Gentiles are able to hear. Where are we now? No, we're not in midnight cry. That's Sunday law. Right, because the Gentiles now, all right?
They graduated.
Yeah,
And they heard. That's Sunday law.
right.
But when his brothers come, that's midnight?
Yeah, when his brothers first came. Right, yeah. Then when he had a party for them, and then he told all the Gentiles, and he cried so loud that the Gentiles all heard him. So what is that? Yeah, that's when that's Sunday law, right? That's Sunday law. So, right, and at that time, what did he say to his brothers? How many years are we into the famine? For God did send me before you to preserve life. I'm here because I'm a type of Christ, basically, right? Because I'm here to save my brethren, right, who have sold me, right? But there are 2 years that have passed. 2 years of famine has passed. How many are left? We have 5 more. So at the Sunday law, spiritually, 2 years of the famine has passed and 5 are yet to come. All right? Okay, in that way, go and get our father. And then so they went and got their father, right? Okay, all right. We're not going to read all of this because I have the verses all up there, and you need to go and study for this yourself and make sure that you know this is correct. All right. So what happened when Israel, which is Jacob decided, okay, he's going to come and he wants to say, before I die, I have to see my son Joseph. So he took his journey with all that he had, and he came to, what is Beersheba? The well of the 7 times oath, right? He came to 7 times, right? And he offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. This is the part of the story that nobody really gives. I've never actually heard, when growing up, any preacher giving this part of the story. They usually miss this part of the story. And God spoke unto Israel in the visions. And what kind of vision is this? It's a Marah vision of the night. And what did he say? Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here am I. Wait a minute. Yeah, well, that's obviously, now this is going back again. This is kind of like a repeat and enlarge now, right? So what is this? He had a Marah vision, and during that time, God came to him and said what? Jacob, Jacob. And his response was, here am I. Does this remind you of somebody?
Samuel.
This is the story of Samuel. Samuel 3 verse 10 and 15. And the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel answered, speak, for thy servant heareth. And what kind of vision did Samuel get at that time? a Marah vision, right? At the time of the Marah vision for Jacob, what did he learn when he had the Marah vision? He learned that I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not, go down to Egypt. I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee unto Egypt. I will surely bring thee up again, and Joseph will put his hands upon thine eyes. Right? What is he saying? God is telling him what will happen to his people. Right? See, this is your people. You're going to live in Egypt, and I will bring you out of Egypt. Right? This is the Marah vision. God will tell his prophet, because now he's a prophet now, what is going to befall his people. So did God tell Samuel what is going to befall in this vision? Yeah. What was it that was going to befall his people? That Eli is going to die, his sons are going to die, and the ark is going to be taken away, right? Yeah, what happens? And there's another, Ezekiel 1. What happened to Ezekiel? He also saw a Marah vision, right? What did he see in that Marah vision? All the wheels within the wheels. And the wheels within the wheels he saw on the 5th day of the 4th month. And we know that 5th day in the 4th month is midnight. Right, it's midnight. Okay, all right. Wow, we're going pretty fast. All right, we're going pretty fast, but it's okay. But we'll slow down a little bit here, because the next part. Oh, okay. Let's see. What do I have here? Okay, this is our timeline. 1989, 9/11, midnight cry, Sunday law. So this is when the two sticks join together, and they join together first at the midnight cry, and they're completely joined at the Sunday law, right? Okay, the two sticks, right? So Joseph had two dreams. His first dream was that his brothers are going to bow down to him. Okay, and that was fulfilled when? At the midnight cry, right? Okay, so this is the vision of what? The two sticks, the vision of the 7 times, the vision of 2520. Is that a Chazown or Mareh vision? Okay, I'm going to ask you. You have to pick and choose and tell me why you say it. This is a 2520 vision, the 7 times vision. Is that a Chazown or is that a Mareh vision? Chazown. It's a Chazown vision, because 2520, right? 2520 is about all the nations, from Babylon all the way to the end, right? Yeah. This is a Chazown vision. All right, Chazown vision. And then he also saw that his whole family bowed down to him, right? And they bowed down to him at the Sunday law, right? The Sunday law is typified by October 22, 1844. So this is the 2300 day vision, because that 2300 day vision ends at October 22, 1844. So the 2300 day vision is the Mareh vision. That's the Arab and the Boger vision, right? We'll go into that a little bit. So this is so Joseph had a Chazown vision and a Mareh vision, right? Do you see that? This is the 2520, and this is the 2300. This is the Chazown, and this is the Mareh vision. All right, okay. So that's what Joseph had. Okay, what about Pharaoh? What kind of vision did Pharaoh have? Well, Pharaoh knew that there was the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine, all right, with the cows, and also 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. All right, so this is a Mareh, and that's also a Chazown. All right, I mean, sorry, this is the Chazown and this is the Mareh. Chazown and the Mareh. Yeah, because this is for the cows and this is for the wheat, right? Because there's the seven fat and the 7 thin. This is the 7 fat and the 7 thin. What about Nebuchadnezzar? Nebuchadnezzar had visions also. How many visions did Nebuchadnezzar have? 2 visions. What was the first vision that he had in Daniel 2?
The one that he could not remember.
Yeah, it was the image, right? An image. What kind of vision was that? That's a Chazown, because it was like from Babylon, Medo-Persia, all the way, right? That's a Chazown vision, right? Right. That's a Chazown vision. And then, what vision that what vision was it that he had about the tree that was being cut down? Yeah. Wait a minute. Now I think we got it backwards now. The tree that was cut down, and then he had to walk on all fours and eat grass for 7 times. What is that? That's the 2520. That's the 2520, right? So that's the 2520, right? So that's the 2520. Yeah, that's the Chazown, and this is the Mareh, right? But anyway, you will see that it's a Chazown and a Mareh vision. The 2 visions that they had were, so they all kind of fit, right? They fit. And we know also we can put William Miller's dreams up there too. Because William Miller's dream, one of his dreams was that he saw these jewels that were scattered and gathered, right? Scattering and gathering of the jewels. That's the 2520, right? And then he also saw his whole life, right? Yeah, okay. So just like William Miller. So those 2 dreams. Okay. Now what I'm going through all of this just to make sure we understand the Chazown and the Mareh vision, okay? This is what we did. Oh, this is so long ago. I took this slide because we did this very long ago, but it's good to kind of review. This is the review of Daniel 8. And the
Chazown I can understand, but the Mareh I have a little bit of trouble with.
The Mareh is right. The Mareh is the 2300, okay? The 23. Okay, we'll go through this, okay? This is why it's good for us to go through it. We know for sure this is Chazown. The Chazown vision had the ram and 2 horns, the he-goat and the little horn, right? Daniel 8 verse 1 to 12, right? That's the Chazown vision, right? Ram with 2 horns, he-goat and little horn. This is the Chazown vision right here, okay? And then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the Chazown? How long shall be the Chazown? So he sees one saint speaking to another saint, right? And one of those saints is Jesus, and the other saint is Gabriel, right? So who does he see? He sees Jesus, right? And that one saint spake to another saint, and he says, how long shall be the Chazown? How long shall be the Chazown regarding the Tamid and the transgression of desolation? Right? The Tamid is the daily sacrifice, daily in parentheses sacrifice, but that's the Tamid. Regarding the Tamid and the transgression of desolation, to give both Kodesh, what is Kodesh? God's sanctuary, and the host to be trodden, right? Underfoot. And the answer is, unto 2,300 Arab and Bulgar, which is translated days. When actually in the Jewish, it's Arab and Bulgar. Then shall the Kodesh be cleansed. Tasdak is cleansed, right? The Kodesh is the sanctuary of God. Sanctuary of God, all right? So this here is the vision of the 2300 Arab and Boger. Okay? And then in verse 67, Gabriel, make this man understand the Mareh. Make this man understand the Mareh. You go, wait a minute, this is the Chazown, so this got to be the Mareh. Wait, are you sure? Okay. At the time of the end shall be the Chazown. So the Chazown will end at the time of the end. Is 1798 the time of the end?
Yes.
Right. Okay, there you go. For sure, this is the Chazown. We have no problem about that. But this has to be the Mareh. Okay, let's see. We need more proof that this is the Mareh. Okay? Because this is the 2300 days. The Arab and the Boger. Arab and the Boger is 2300 days. Right? This is the 2300 days. Is this the Mareh? Okay, we have to make sure that we understand it is the Mareh. Okay? And the last end of the indignation, for the time appointed, the end shall be. The last end, okay? This is the first end, and this is the last end. Okay, there's two ends, right? The end shall be. And then now he gives the explanation of the Chazown vision. It is Medo-Persia, Grecia, and the king of fierce countenance, which is Rome. All right? Okay, we obviously know that's pagan Rome followed by papal Rome. All right? So he gives the explanation of the Chazown vision. All right? And what happens in verse 26? And the Mareh of the Arab and Boger. Did you see that? The vision of the Arab and Boger. So the Mareh of the Arab and Boger. This is the Mareh of the Arab and Boger. The key is in verse 26. It's the Mareh of the Arab and Boger. And this is the 2300 Arab and Boger. All right? So the 2300 days is the Mareh. Okay? You get that? You know, you have to settle into that. You have to make sure you completely understand that. This is the Chazown and this is the Mareh. Because it said, verse 26, the Mareh of the Arab and Boger, which was told is true. Shut thou up the Chazown. Shut this up for the Chazown, for it shall be for many days. All right? For many days. This shall be for many days. And I was astonished at the Mareh, but none understood it. Okay? I didn't understand the Mareh yet. So when was the Mareh given understanding to Daniel? In the next chapter, in 9. And how was the Mareh understanding given to Daniel? By the 70 weeks. 70 weeks is determined unto, right? Yeah, okay. All right. So far, so good. Any question? Jill, you have a question? No? No? So you know now this is the 2300 is the what? Is the Mareh. Is the Mareh of the Arab and Boger, right? The 2300 Arab and Boger. There you go. All right. So this is the Chazown. So Daniel had a Chazown and a Mareh, obviously. Okay. All right. Now we go to Daniel 10. So he had a Mareh and a Chazown vision. And in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, and the thing was true, and the time appointed was long. All right, so the time appointed was long. So this thing had a long appointed time. And he understood the thing. What is the thing? It's the vision. Which vision? It's the one that has the time was long. It's the Chazown vision, right? And he understood the thing, and he also understood the Mareh. Right. The Mareh is the 2300, and he also understood the thing, which is the Dabar, and which was long. The thing, that's long, and that he understood. So he understood what? He understood the Chazown, and he understood the Mareh. Okay? by the time Daniel 10 comes around, in the 3rd year of Cyrus, he understood the Chazown and the Mareh. All right. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 full weeks. Right. So what did he have to do to understand the Chazown and the Mareh vision? He had to be fasting for 3 whole weeks. Right. Then I lifted my eyes, and then I saw a man in the appearance of lightning, and then I saw Jesus. I saw the appearance, the Mareh of Jesus, right? So he was also understanding. So he understood the time prophecies, and then he saw Jesus. So the Mareh is also the appearance of Jesus, right? Okay, you get that? And Daniel, I alone saw the vision. And then I saw the Marah. Now I see the Marah. So what he did, he had to understand the Chazown and the Mareh first. After that, then he sees the Marah. And when he saw the Marah, there was men that did not see the Marah, and they fled to hide themselves. All right? So these are if he's a priest, who are these? These are the foolish priest. Who is the foolish priest who fled? This is Judas, right? This is Judas, right? Because we're talking about midnight now, right? And Judas fled before midnight, right? And Judas is the tares, is the foolish priest, all right? So the foolish priests. So the foolish priests, they study the Mareh and the Chazown, right? But then they still fall away, right? They don't get the Marah. Maybe because they don't completely understand the Chazown and the Mareh. Yeah. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great Marah, and there remained no strength. And I was turned to corruption. I retained no strength. I became weak. All right. Yet I heard the voice of his words, and my face was turned toward the ground. And he touched me for the first time. Okay, this is touch number 1, right? And he set my knees upon the palms of my hand, and so I was on my all fours on the ground. And Daniel, O man greatly beloved, understand, bin, the word that I speak, and stand upright, for unto thee now I am sent. Okay, so you have to understand the words. And then he stood. Okay, he was touched one time right here. So this is during the Mareh experience. This is the time of the Marah experience. He was touched. How many times was he touched? Well, he was touched 3 times, but this is the first touch. All right? Okay. And there's another one here. You understand again, right? And chasten thyself. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. Lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days. Isn't this what happened to Jacob? Didn't Jacob understand what is going to befall his children in Egypt? Right? What about Samuel? Was not Samuel given the understanding of what's going to befall Eli and the sons and the time? Right? Daniel, he was made to understand what will befall the people in the latter days. All right? For the Chazown is still for many days. So you understand now, Marah? The relationship between Marah versus Chazown and Mareh. You have to understand the Chazown and the Mareh first before you get the Marah, right? And then when you get the Marah, then you will understand what is going to befall the people, befall God's people. And he became dumb. And then he was touched again the second time, and there was no strength in him, and it was as if he is dead. There was no strength, and he was dead. And this typifies Ellen White, because what happened to Ellen White when Ellen White had a vision and he held up the Bible?
She didn't breathe.
She didn't breathe, She did not breathe. It was as if she was dead, right? Oh, okay. This is the second touch. And there came again and touched me. Oh, this is touch number 3. And he was strengthened. And the man greatly feared. Peace be, beloved, fear not. Peace be unto thee. Be strong. Yea, be strong. Right? There's a doubling. Right? Therefore I come unto thee, and I will to return to fight the king, prince of Persia. Where I am gone, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. And I will show you that which is noted in the scripture of truth. There is none that holdeth me in these things, but Michael your prince. This is kind of amazing right here. I actually started to understand what it says. I will show thee what which is noted in the scripture of truth. We know what that means. In other words, what is noted in the scripture of truth takes precedence over history, because what is shown in history only supports what is written in the Bible. All right? It overrides what? Okay. Because when the prince of Grecia actually goes against Greece, and then Greece comes back and retaliates, there's a long period of history, and there's actually 9 kings. It's not the 4th king. You know, the 4th king, which is Xerxes. Xerxes actually went and stirred up the realm of Grecia, right?
Yeah, and he lost.
And then he lost. But it was 9 kings later that Greece eventually came in the form of Alexander and took revenge. But believe in the scripture of truth, right? You know, don't look at the history, because, you know, you take the application from the scripture of truth. All right? Okay. And there is none that holdeth with me these things, but Michael your prince. Why is this important? Because I have to read what Ellen White wrote. I think I have it here. Okay. Okay. I actually didn't write it down. All right. Okay. Ellen White wrote that, isn't it so wonderful that the angel that was third in honor in heaven, second only to the Son of God, was the one that was given this message to be given to Daniel. And also the same message was basically given to John also, right? This message, nobody holds these messages except for Gabriel and Michael, given by the Father. So now my question is, where's the Holy Spirit? Oh no! Oh no! Oh boy! See, look at it. And nobody else. This is given by the Father, and nobody else holds this except for Gabriel and Michael.
But it doesn't say Gabriel.
No, it's Gabriel. It was Gabriel, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, you know, after reading this so many times, then I said, oh, there you go. This is pretty amazing. Anyway, all right. So how many weeks was he fighting against? I mean, how many weeks did he have to fast? 3 weeks. Okay. 1, 2, 3 weeks. Okay. We put that 3 weeks right here. This is the first week. This is the second week, and this is the third week. All right. And then he had to receive, and then he was able to receive the Marah vision when he was touched 3 times, right? 3 touches right here, okay? When he received the Marah vision is because he already understood the Chazown and the Mareh. So this is 1, 2, 3 is like, this is the Chazown, this is the Mareh, and this is the Marah. Okay, and this Marah is in this time period between midnight and midnight cry for the priests. And this is the time when they are touched 3 times. All right, and after that they fall as if they were dead. All right, there's no strength, and they will be strengthened, be strong and be strong, and then they will stand up. All right, this is when they're going to stand up, right? Okay. The 3 tests is here. This is 1, 2, 3 test. Because at this 3rd test, there's somebody who falls away. The person that did not see the Marah vision, he fell away, right? This is like Judah. Judah fell away at midnight. Yeah, not Judah, Judas. Judas fell away, right? Right. And this period of time between midnight and midnight cry for the priest, we call it the binding off period. All right, this is called the binding off period. All right, the point that I have to do this to go over is because this is very important, because to be able to know what is the Marah vision, you have to understand the Chazown and the Mareh vision. Okay, all right.
So, like in our spiritual life, the Chazown, we should know the prophecy.
That's right.
Prophecy.
And we have to see the appearance of Jesus. To have to see Jesus.
Then we have to live.
That's right. Then we reflect Jesus right here. Right. But we have to understand prophecies. Right.
Prophecy, know Jesus and live.
That's right.
Then repeat it.
Right. So that yeah, this actually it's recorded. But for our time period, Auntie Doreen is saying that we have to understand the prophecies. We have to see Jesus personally. We have to see Jesus, right? So that then we can live the character of Jesus and reflect the Marah experience, which is the looking glass experience, when we reflect the character of Christ. Then when we are humbled in the dust, and then we are lifted up as an ensign, right? So, this concept we keep going over and over again. All right, okay, but there's a progression. You cannot do 1 and 2 before you get to 3. I mean, you have to go through 1 and 2 before you cannot do 3 before going through 1 and 2. You have to do 1 and 2 before you get to 3. You cannot skip.
You cannot do a reflection if you don't know what
Right?
reflecting.
Right. You have to actually have to do it. Yeah.
What happened to the Levites?
Because here, then the Levites will have to get. Then here, then the Levites, then they will have to go through their own experience.
Chazown, Mareh and Marah.
Yeah, they have to go through their own.
So is the Nethinners, they have to do their own thing.
Right. They have to go the same thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then you will understand what befalls the God's people, right? This is when the kingdom of Persia will go against the kingdom of Grecia, right here. Okay. And what will befall God's people? Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, before I go into here. So what does this have to do? Why did I go through all of that? How did Jacob, when he went to Beersheba, how did he get the Marah vision? That he saw that his children is going to be saved be protected in Egypt. And they are eventually going to come out with, How was it that he was able to get the Marah vision?
He probably understood.
Because he understood.
The Chazown from Joseph.
That's right. Exactly. Remember, he said he had an inkling that Joseph's prophecy is going to be true. And then when he was going to go and meet Joseph, he says, that's it. The prophecies are true. Joseph's visions are true. And what were Joseph's visions? The Chazown and the Mareh. Right? That's how he was able to get the Marah. Right. Okay.
But they have an inkling of him before when Joseph is still.
That's right. Yeah. He had an inkling already. He said, "Hey, this boy is going to be special." Right? He knew that this boy is going to be special. But he knew there was going to be vision. His visions, he had an understanding, right? He had an understanding that these visions are actually going to come true. And then he knew it when he went to Beersheba. And then he had the Marah vision. All right? So that's the point of doing all this, because this is something that we really have to understand. Okay? All right. So this is where it comes to see what it all means. Okay, we're going to read here, and we know this story. There was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sure, and that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by the reason of famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph bought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. So what is the first thing that happened after east wind attacks? There's a famine. And then people use up all their money and their money fails, right? So the first thing that happens is money fails. After the economy falls, and east wind causes a destruction of the economy, and money fails. All right, and then Joseph, when there's no more money, what do they have to do? They have to sell their cattle. And what is the cattle to the people? It's their economy, their livelihood. Yeah, the cattle, their horses, their flocks, their cattle of herds, and their asses. What is all that? That's their economy too. That's their livelihood. So they have to sell their cattle for food, right? And that was the first year. That first year. What happened in the second year?
Now what's left is their land.
What is their bodies and their lands? Well, we have no more cattle. We have no more money. What do we have left? Our land and our bodies. And why should we die? Therefore we will sell you our land. And Joseph bought up all the land, and every man sold their land to Joseph, right?
Then there will be servants.
So they will be, right. So and the second year they sold their land, and then they sold themselves and became servants. And after they have become servants, what happened to them? They had to live in the cities, right? Yeah, they had to live in the cities, right? You have to know the progression, right? You have to know the progression. And then they have to live in the cities. But who did not have to live in the cities? There's two groups of people that did not have to live in the city. The priest, no, actually, look at this. It's actually the heathen priest. The priest did not have to live in the cities because they have their own land. They were given special. And who else? The Israelites, because they lived in Goshen, right? Right, because they have their own land, right?
Who's going to be modern priest?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's probably spiritual. It's still the priest.
It's still spiritual application.
It's spiritual application, right? Yeah. So and then after that, what is going to happen? Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day that Pharaoh should have a fifth part except the land of priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel continued to dwell in the land of Egypt in Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and they grew and multiplied. All right? He made a law. He made a law that 1/5 of what you make out of your land belongs to
Taxation.
right. So you are slaves, and whatever you make belongs to the Pharaoh also. All right. So that law, when is that law?
When is the law? It says until now.
Right. You know, when that in our time history, when is that law?
When it's going to happen?
Is that midnight cry?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not at 9/11 for sure. It's not at midnight cry. When is that law? When they have to sell themselves, and then they have to, everything they own belongs to the Pharaoh? Sunday law. It's the Sunday law.
Sunday law already, because everything.
Right. So when you see the progression, midnight cry, east wind attacks, what happens right after midnight cry? Money fails. and then they have to sell their cattle, they have to land, and they have to sell themselves, and then the law is made, which is the Sunday law, right? What was that?
National ruin,
National ruin, right?
which follows the national law.
Okay, so this is our timeline, right? 1989, 9/11, midnight cry. I should actually say 5th day of the 4th month here, but this was an old slide. Okay, this is the line of Judah right here. This is the line of Judah because this is the 7 last kings of Judah. All right, okay. And we know that the 7 years of plenty starts at 9/11, right? We already established that. The 7 years of plenty starts at 9/11. All right, 7 years of plenty, and then happens here the starts the 7 years of famine, and his 10 brothers come. And then the first year their money fails, right after here, and then the cattle, they have to sell their cattle, and then the second year, anyway, here's his brothers come down. So the 2 sticks starts joining. This stick joins with this stick right at this point right here. Okay, and then the second year the people have to sell their land. All right, and his brothers come, and then they have they meet, and Joseph cries, and the Pharaoh and the Egyptians hear. So we know that is Sunday law, and there's still another 5 years, right? So there's another 5 years. So we know that that's the Sunday law right here. His 10 brothers, they all come, and the 70, his relatives, there's 70 of them that eventually came and stayed in Jerusalem, in Egypt, sorry. And this was the second year of famine, and Joseph cries, and the Egyptians hear, and the people have to live in the cities, and they became slaves, and those that can live in the land are the priests and the Israelites, and they had bread, and they grew and multiplied. So we know that this cannot be here, but because they still had bread and they grew and multiplied, right? So it has to be here still, right? Okay, so we established this, all now established. So we know that the money fails right here. Money fails right here, and then everybody has to sell everything, and then eventually they all have to live in the cities. If you have no money, you have no land, where do you have to live? You have to live in the cities, right? In the ghettos. And then the Sunday law comes, right? For those. Okay, all right. So then now we. Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because before Sunday law, we are all sealed.
Yeah. So we know this is the 7 years of plenty, okay, and this the 2 years of You like the graphics, right? The fat cow and the skinny cow, the fat corn and the skinny corn. This is the 2 years leading to the Sunday law, and this is the 5 years leading to the close of probation. Michael stands up, right? Okay. Now we have to put that with French Revolution. We know that the French Revolution, midnight is here, and here is the Reign of Terror. So when the Reign of Terror comes, that's going to be this is, wow. This is real. Money fails, Islam attacks, Reign of Terror, state-sponsored civil war at the midnight cry. Oh, this is just incredible. You know, when you put all of this together, you put the line upon line, and what do we put the 10 plagues here too? We know that the 10 plagues starts at 9/11. All right, this is midnight because this is the third one that they cannot replicate, is the finger of God right here at midnight, right? And what happens after The third is the swarm. So this Islam does something here, and then this is the fourth, fifth, sixth. What happens at the seventh? Hail. Hail comes. Hail destroys all the crops. Money fails. Robespierre kills everybody and starts a state-run guillotine. Islam attacks, because Islam attacks right here, right? This is the locust, and this is the dark day. What is the dark day? When the sun is covered by the smoke that comes out of the bottomless pit, which is Islam too. Pretty amazing.
If you line up that one with those fat and the skinny, of course, the bottom part, the place would be after, but you're applying it because you're lining up with.
Right, we have to apply, yeah. But these plagues here are also spiritual already.
Yes,
These are spiritual. This is the blood. The water turned to blood. Water is Holy Spirit, so there's a false Holy Spirit being taught right here. Well, we know that's for sure. And this is the frogs. What is the frogs? The false doctrines. There's a false doctrine, right? So these are the false doctrines, right? And this is midnight, because this is the third plague which they cannot replicate, which is the lice, right?
What is the spiritual for lice?
I'm not sure what this lice means, but I know for sure it's they cannot replicate it. I'm not sure what lice would actually mean. Yeah, we have maybe study that a little bit more, right? But we know we are living right at this point here. But the big problem is going to be right here. Robespierre, our president, is suddenly going to start state-sanctioned reign of terror. And Islam is going to attack. The East Wind is going to attack. Right here, it already says, Islam is, this is all by Islam right here. And money fails. Everything before the Sunday law happens right here. Wow, pretty amazing. Okay.
There is no Islam attack at
Midnight, there's something about Islam. However, at midnight, we know what Islam does is Islam will suddenly, they used to be all separated. There used to be 4 sultans that were let loose, but now they become one together under Muhammad II. And Muhammad II at midnight, what does he do? He orders a bomb. He orders a cannon. He orders a cannon. So something is going on with Islam. We know that Islam is going to come together under one organization. They become more organized. Right now, they're not very organized. Seems like that would be because there's 4 sultans. Okay. All right. Now I have one more slide. This is actually not that, we're doing this quite kind of fast because we already know this. We know this, and then we can kind of prove it by ourselves. But this is one interesting thing right here. This 5 here. I was thinking, what does this 5 mean? I put it in my notes, but if we look at the feasts of the Jews, the Israelites, what does the Sunday law represent? Which feast falls at this? Oh, this is obviously the Passover, but what also is here? 1844 is the Day of Atonement. Okay, if this is the Day of Atonement, what happens 5 days after the Day of Atonement? The Feast of Tabernacles. This is Day of Atonement, the 10th day of the 7th month. 5 days after that is the Feast of Tabernacles. What is the Feast of Tabernacles? Right. We're going to be in tents, right? It's still in the future. We're going to be in the mountains in tents. Right. Yeah. So the Feast of Tabernacles is still in the future. Right. The Day of Atonement is the Sunday law. But 5 days after that is the day of what? This the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Really interesting. All right. Okay. So that is the more sure word of prophecy. Any other comments, additions?
Chazown and Mareh and Marah, are those Hebrew or Greek words?
Chazown and Mareh, those are Hebrew words. Yeah, those are Hebrew words. Yeah.
See if they have any questions.
Any other questions? Okay. No, I actually. Oh, I didn't turn it on, but it's okay.
Oh,
I think it's okay. We did this already last night, but I redid this over again today with better graphics because last night it was not as organized. But today is a lot smoother because I've practiced this presentation last night already. Right, in a different language.
oh, you did it in
How many
English.
years did you have to go?
Oh, not sure.
Or
Right. Okay. So this, I think, will conclude the French Revolution, because it actually, it's kind of amazing when you put the line of French Revolution with the line of Joseph with the line of Moses, and you understand what is coming at midnight cry. It is pretty scary what's going to come at midnight cry, right? It's going to be very scary what's going to happen, all right? But for those who watch and pray, Jesus will not come to them as a thief, because they know already what will befall God's children in the time of the end, all right?
I think East Wind is really gonna be mad at Trump because Trump
Oh, yeah.
and
make crazy about it.
All these things will make it such a perfect environment for the Sunday law to be started. Because in itself, if you just have one event by itself, it's not enough for somebody to enact a Sunday law in America. All these things have to come together so that the Sunday law can happen here.
and also is the character is already perfected.
Yeah,
That you have the Marah vision.
right.
That before the Sunday law, you're already sealed.
Oh yeah, you have to be. You have to be sealed. Mm-hmm.
Didn't they share Trump denying a couple of countries immigrants from
Middle
Yeah.
East, Syria, and it's just like some people are saying because they're finding these girls and stuff like that. They're saying they're like Anne Frank because Anne Frank was denied access to come to U.S.
Just one refugees.
Remember that what he's going to behave like a dictator. Is he already behaving like a dictator already?
He's only been like a week and he's already changed so many things.
Right? He's going to be the dictator. The dictator will rule the United Nations. This is so amazing. We already see this in real life, in real time. All right? Okay. So